It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 24th of October. This is the B block, the Bravo block, or as John refers to it, the Brad screw-up block, right? Isn't that what this is? Where Brad screws up, right? No? Yes?
Screwed up the Brad top three, have you, Brad?
Oh, no. You cut up there for a minute. Try that again, John.
I was saying, I don't think you've ever screwed up the Brad's top three before, have you?
Yes, I have, many times. Okay, here we go.
It's time for Brad's top three.
And John, today I'm going to pull something I haven't done in a while. Ladies, one more time.
It's time for Brad's top.
Okay, normally when I do this, it screws up. But this morning, I have something special. And it is, I have two number threes. And we do this, we have to do the...
It's a Brad top three, extra, 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 extra.
Yes, it is the Brad's top three, extra, extra, extra. Okay, I have two number threes. First off, quickly, I find this very sad that the go-kart track, the Victory Raceway in Crestwood, has gotten a 30-day notice that they're tearing it down and they're building an apartment building there. Okay? You know, and I know the apartment company bought the property and they let them build the racetrack there, but that's actually a cool little racetrack. You know what I'm talking about? The go-kart is an indoor go-kart racing down there in Crestwood. You ever been there before?
Are you kidding me? That's Crestwood's, for folks who don't know, Crestwood, South County, right?
Well, Southwest County, yeah, sort of South County.
Yeah, so obviously not.
So you haven't.
I'm not going to go to Crestwood.
Well, I think it's sad because what do we need? How many apartment complexes are there in the St. Louis area, John? How many would you say? 1,000, 10,000, 5,000 in St. Charles County alone?
Yeah, I mean, if you count the new one's going to be bought right there off of 364, then yeah.
Right. So what do we have? We have one indoor go-kart racetrack, and it's going to be bye-bye. So it's bye. Okay, so here's Brad's top three, number two.
It's number three.
Mike Elam sent me a very interesting article. If you remember, we had Mike Elam on. Was that yesterday? Was that the day before we had Mike on?
No, like 3 days ago.
Okay, he was talking about, my thing was, I'm talking about the fact that this whole thing with the government spending money for broadband and putting in fiber and cable and all this kind of stuff. And he said, now this is interesting. I got to give you a little bit of jargon here. The title of this article is, and this is a website called fiercenetwork.com, and there's a hyphen, if you want to look this up, between Fierce and Network, fierce-network.com. And the title on the article is, more than 20% of BEAD, B-E-A-D locations will go to satellite. Now, first off, BEAD stands for, let me get all the definitions here. BEAD stands for Broadband Equity Access and Deployment. This is a government program. This is what we're talking about, where the government is essentially saying, we need to take care of those people in the rural areas with high-speed internet. We need to give them the internet. I kept saying, okay, just give them Starlink, because it used to be the Starlink equipment when it first came out for, that you put on your house was like $1,000, and then it was like $600. Now I've seen ads for it. It's down to like $89. I saw an ad the other day that if you sign a 2-year contract, they give you the equipment for free, and it's $59 a month. Okay, here we go. Let me read the first paragraph of this article. After all the hand-wringing about the revisions to the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment BEAD program under the Trump administration, it looks about 67.1% of eligible locations will get fiber, while 20.5% will receive LEO. And you know what LEO is, John?
Law enforcement officer, yeah.
Low Earth Orbit. They will receive, so 20.5% will receive low Earth orbit satellite connections. The remaining locations will receive fixed wireless access, which means like your little box that that picks up your cellular tower and stuff like that, and coaxial cable, 2.4%. These figures come from the Connected Nation website, which is tracking all the BEAD proposals. Currently, it has data for 51 final proposals out of 56, and its data shows the allocations of 3.36 million allocations out of a presumed 4.2 million. These are the locations where they have essentially said it's going to be next to impossible to get to these people, to get people to receive high-speed broadband. And one of the interesting things they talked about was, I didn't even think about this, they talked about Hawaii. John, think about what the problem is with getting fiber in Hawaii. Think about that for a minute. What a lot of the islands made of?
Coconut and lava.
Yeah, they're made of lava. So the point being is, if you're going to try to put fiber in, underground here in the Midwest, it's pretty easy. But if you're a contractor and say, okay, we need to have you run 6 miles of fiber to this guy's house, and you say, yeah, but he lives on the side of a volcano and his house is built on lava. Oh, we don't care how it gets done. We're the government. We need to have you put fiber in that guy's house because we have to serve every person. We're like the postal service. We have to have every address served. So they are doing satellite, which I think is interesting. Now, I did more investigation on this. Do you know have you ever heard of Kuiper? Do you know what Kuiper is?
Yeah, Dwayne Kuiper, former second baseman for the Giants. No, I don't know what Kuiper is.
I didn't even know about this either. Elon Musk has competition with Starlink. This is Amazon's satellite system, which they're deploying right now. They've been launching over the last few months. They've been launching the first of the Amazon satellites, which will give Amazon coverage all over the United States as well, too. And it's the same thing. I have these Starlinks. Well, they're not Starlink, but the Amazon. It's weird. It's spelled Kuiper, and they pronounce it Kuiper. And it's the same thing, a little bit different as far as the frequency range is concerned. But the one interesting problem is, and I did not realize this, if you have the satellite system, if you live in an area, or let's say you have trees around your house, it won't necessarily work. You have to have 120 degrees clear into the sky. So in other words, you have to essentially have like a sort of like an arc on the top of your house where you can't have like a tree on one side and a bunch of bushes on the other side and let's say your neighbor's house next to yours. You have to have a clear arc so that it can pick up the different satellites as they fly over your house. But I thought this was interesting because I had no idea Amazon was doing their own thing. Did you know that either?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was surprised at that, and I watched a video about it and the whole bit. And part of it, and this is sort of interesting because talk about vertically integrated. When they do this, Amazon essentially will equip all their trucks with these satellite receivers, so their trucks will be getting all this data as well as their data centers, their distribution centers, and their not only the delivery trucks but the over-the-road trucks will all be equipped with this satellite, antennas on the top of their trucks and be receiving all this high-speed data in all of their locations and all their vehicles. Which I thought, whoa, man, are they just kicking it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they still pale in comparison to I-3 because they can't claim to have the next St. Charles County executive.
By the way, let's talk about that. I had a little time last night with one of my very, very, very politically connected friends, and she said the cat's out of the bag. Have I missed that?
The cat's out of the bag. Wait, now, is this one of your very, 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 very connected friends that says Mike Kehoe doesn't travel to every corner of the state?
Nope.
Or is this just Phil Christofanelli's mom? And but seriously, what did Phil's mom have to say? That the cat's out of the bag, that Steve's going to run?
That supposedly he was on Mike Carter's video cast, or whatever he calls his thing, the other day, and he said, yep, I'm going to run for county executive. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. I didn't see that. If that's true, that's awesome.
Well,
good for Cindy. I didn't see that. Now, did that episode already play?
I don't know. She told me this yesterday. She said, because she's got her finger on the pulse, because of the fact that she's I don't think she's in the Republican committee anymore, but she's got her ear to the ground when it comes to stuff like that. Okay, ready for number 2?
Yeah, let's do it, Brad.
Okay.
It's time for Brad's number 2. It's time for Brad's number 2.
You drive around town, you see the billboards, and what do the billboards say? They have a date on it, 12/1/25. You know what that date is, John? 12/1/25?
Yeah, I'm guessing it has to do with a big scandal involving sports betting.
Yes. What timing for the Missouri rollout of gaming or sports betting, whatever you want to call it, when the big story yesterday was how these NBA players were shaving points, doing prop bet things that they shouldn't be doing, having card games with crime family people and cheating people out of their money in fixed card games. Yes, sports gambling. We need that, don't we, John? Everything's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think so. And there was a local connection to a drug dealer. Did you see this post-dispatch story?
I did. I'm going like, holy cow. The interesting thing about this is, and I heard people talking about this yesterday in a couple of different talk shows. I didn't really think about it that much, but I thought to myself, you're big on prop bets, right? Don't you like prop bets?
I've never placed a prop bet in my life. I don't know anything about prop bets.
But you've talked about that before, about the prop bets. And for those of you
I'm not into them, but I have a working knowledge. So prop bets are just generally, for example, I saw an ad popped up yesterday, Brad, that said you can bet on how many days the government shutdown will end. And then in sports, you could say that, I think LeBron James will score fewer than 20 points. Here's what the odds are.
Well, the interesting thing was brought out yesterday. There's prop bets like, okay, in the first game of the World Series, which starts, was it tonight? Or tomorrow or whatever? I think tonight. In the first game of the World Series, the first pitch, will it be a strike, a ball? A strike or a ball? So you think, like, okay, so let's say the pitcher for whichever team is going to be on the mound first. I don't know who that's going to be, if it's going to be Toronto or L.A. But the pitcher, and somebody says to him, hey, buddy, we'll give you $50,000 in a Mercedes G-Wagon if you throw the first ball way outside, because we're going to bet millions of dollars on the fact that the first pitch is going to be a ball. And if you throw that pitch outside, we'll cash in like nobody's business. I thought to myself, God, that is spooky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I'm sorry to interrupt, Brad, but we had a case earlier in the year where a pitcher was suspended, I think put on paid leave, because essentially an algorithm can determine if there's something funky going on. And there was a huge amount of money put on the fact that his first pitch of an inning would be a ball. And indeed, there were two instances where he spiked the ball way out of the strike zone in cases where the algorithms had identified that there was a strange amount of money put on that particular pitch.
Is that bizarre or what?
Yeah. I mean, Brad, it's to be expected, though. I don't know why. I saw someone tweet yesterday, boy, I'm shocked to see this. And we'll be right back with the DraftKings I Bet on Sports eyeball.
Yes.
Come on.
And yesterday afternoon, I can't remember which talk show I heard it on, and I thought it was really interesting. They said that if you go to the Cincinnati Stadium, it's a different stadium, but the Cincinnati Reds, where Pete Rose was banished from baseball for his entire life, and he died not being able to be in the Hall of Fame and banished from baseball. The same MLB that banished him from baseball, you can now go up to the betting window at the Cincinnati Reds stadium and bet on the baseball game. You can go to the stadium and bet on the game.
Yeah, the irony there, Brad.
Yes.
It would be like at 7:39 and you finally getting into Brad's number one from Brad's top three.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
John, I'm going to ask you a question. And what's interesting about this is I do not know the answer. When I saw this headline, it perplexed me, and if my phone will come up here, the headline is Trump's Memphis crime crackdown locates dozens of missing kids, removes 109 gangbangers from streets. How do we have dozens of missing kids in Memphis?
No idea, Brad. How did it happen? What does the story say?
Well, it says, okay, here's the first paragraph. Law enforcement officials have made more than 1,000 arrests and found dozens of missing children in Memphis, Tennessee, as part of President Donald Trump's crime crackdown in the notoriously violent city, Fox News Digital learned Wednesday. Quote, and get this, from arresting more than 100 gang members to locating more than 70 missing children, our brave federal agents and local authorities are doing incredible work to protect the good people of Memphis. That's Attorney General Pam Bondi said Wednesday in a comment, quote, tolerating crime is a choice. Under President Trump, we refuse to accept the victimization of innocent American citizens and will continue making our city safe again. Now, it goes on. It never talks about why were these kids missing?
And hold on, Brad. I guess it depends on what the definition of missing is, right?
But, yeah.
Like if you say, well, I think my kid went to stay with Auntie Clarice for a couple weeks, Is that missing, or is it a kid that's been reported as kidnapped?
I don't know. I mean, I see that's the thing. The article never really talks about it. It goes in the next paragraph. A White House official told Fox Digital that there have been 1,309 total arrests in September when the operation officially launched, including 9 arrests for homicide, 52 arrests for sex offenses, 527 for warrants, and 132 for firearm offenses. But they never go back to talk about the more than 70 kids that were missing that were found. I mean, were these illegal? Remember, one of the things is I'm thinking maybe these are illegal immigrant kids, because one of the complaints with the Biden administration was that they say that they've lost like 400,000 kids who came across the border illegally. And one of the scams was the kids would come across with quote-unquote families, but they weren't really their families, and they were being trafficked in the United States for sex crimes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't up on that story at all. Wow.
Well, but see, that was, and when I'm going like, okay, in one city, and think about it, in St. Louis, if one kid goes missing, your phone goes off 42 times because you get the Amber Alerts, missing child, last seen, and most of them, sadly enough, most of them are child custody issues where the husband, or the father doesn't have visitation rights, and he sneaks over to the kid's school or sneaks over to the house and grabs him out of the backyard, and I'm taking you with me, you're my kid.
Yeah, you're right.
That kind of stuff. But how do they find 70 kids that were missing? But yet that's...
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, that's a great question for local media to answer.
Well,
isn't it?
you would think. I mean, think about that. If that happened in St. Louis, and the news article was over 70 missing kids were found in St. Louis, I would think to myself, that has got to be the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 story on all the TV stations, the Post-Dispatch, and, well, not St. Louis PR, because they would probably be talking about the Gay Pride Festival this weekend. So
and just think, Brad, with 70 kids missing, that's 2 for every St. Louis Public Radio staff member.
No, not for staff member, just the news department. Remember, they have
just the news department.
Have 35 people
right.
in the news department alone. To me, talking about burying the lead, when I read this story, I thought to myself, more than 70 missing kids. What's the deal with that? But yet they never address it, which to me is sort of bizarre. But anyway, you know what, John?
Maybe they were AI kids. Maybe they were just the creation of a Brad Hildebrand meme.
I heard a nasty rumor that when John Combest climbed the Channel 5 tower, he had 65 missing kids with him. Was that true?
Oh, hey, watch your mouth, or Cindy Christofanelli is going to text you and say, why did you out me? Because you have 3 sources, so John has a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right.
She told me it was Mike Carter's show. I'll take a quick look at Mike Carter's.
Yeah, it's not, because I just went to Mike Carter's page, and he had Bill Eigel on 2 days ago, and he hasn't had Steve Ehlmann on.
That's what she told me. I mean,
Brad, I'm not questioning Cindy Christofanelli. Would you say that when you relay stories from other people, be it the Mark Cox Morning Show or Mark Reardon or wherever you hear them, would you say you have 100% accuracy in relaying those stories?
No, I would say 100.
Okay, there we go.
I would say 150% accuracy. That's what I would say.
I can't wait to watch Steve Ehlmann on Justice and Journalism.
Yeah, with Judge Mike Carter. Okay, we have to take a break.